Back in the early and mid-2000s, children's TV shows had a bit of a reputation. If they weren't action or story-driven shows, most animated shows were said to be SpongeBob ripoffs. While there were many shows that fell under this category, one of the ones that people claimed to ripped off SpongeBob was Camp Lazlo. Camp Lazlo was a show about a bunch of kids at a summer camp. The show followed the Jelly Beans, our main character Lazlo and his friends Rajan and Clam. The trio got along by having misadventures in the camp or the small town close to them. Now this is the basis of the show, and a question I would have to pose is, was Camp Lazlo a ripoff of SpongeBob? No. Now, while both shows follow a title character who's a bit naive and loves fun, Camp Lazlo is not a ripoff of SpongeBob. For one, the characters are very different. There are archetypes of characters you can find in SpongeBob, but they don't share much more than one character being the Grouch or another character being the Idiot. Now, I haven't seen the show in years, so when I decided to review the show, I went in and started watching a number of episodes. I think in total, I've seen about a fourth to half of the show in its entirety. Now that that's all said, let's take a look at the two-part special, Where's Lazlo? So our story begins with Rajan and Clam crying over Lazlo being gone. Raj starts talking about when they first met, and we flash back to the beginning of the summer. Raj and Clam don't get off on the right foot as they arrive, and we meet the rest of the camp, barring Lazlo, who hasn't arrived yet. Edward steals one of Raj's records and starts to bully Raj, but Clam stands up to Edward. So we meet Lumpus, the scoutmaster who is more competent than normal, but since it's Raj telling a story mainly from his perspective, I guess it makes sense. Lazlo finally shows up and... yeah, he does that. Anyway, the jelly cabin is put together and Lazlo decorates their cabin before the camp starts doing random camp activities. They go swimming, fly kites, and collect firewood. We see Lazlo and his group doing what they want during the activities, and Edward grows more frustrated with the three at each activity. Slickman comes by and states that the three are on their last strike before they are expelled from the camp. Later, Lazlo hears an animal calling out, and it happens to be a bear with a pine cone stuck in its nose. Lazlo removes it, and the bear returns with Lazlo to the camp. While Lazlo was helping the bear, Edward informed Lumpus about Lazlo leaving camp, and Lumpus goes to the jelly cabin. The bear ends up terrorizing the camp, and eventually Raj and Clam tell Lazlo the bear has to leave. The bear leaves with Lazlo, and the two don't return. The next day, everyone finds out Lazlo is missing, and Edward claims that he scared off the bear. The camp starts blindly following Edward as he lies about fighting the bear, and Raj and Clam grieve for the loss of their friend. Eventually, Raj and Clam enter the woods in hopes of finding Lazlo, where they end up in the town and enter a restaurant where Lazlo is a waiter. Raj and Clam try to convince Lazlo to return to the camp with them, but he refuses. Raj and Clam returns to the camp, and at about the same time, the bear also returns and starts scaring the camp. Lazlo returns and resolves the problem by having Edward remove the pine cone stuck in the bear's nose. So everything returns to normal, and we fade back to the present where Lazlo returns to the cabin, and we find out where he was.
Guys, do we have to do this every time I go to the latrine? You guys didn't tell that bear story again, did you?
So that was a two-parter, Where's Lazlo? There's a few funny jokes in here, and the story, while not original, wasn't too bad. Camp Lazlo also had a style that feels its own, especially for the time. If there was anything in the show that confuses me, it's in this episode. The entirety of the camp is afraid of a bear, despite one of the campers being a bear. I gave Where's Lazlo a 7 out of 10. It's better than it has to be, and better than I expected.